I am humbled by the opportunity to share these next few moments with all of you, particularly the graduates, since as my students know, normally I prefer to stand with you than in front of you. In my day-to-day work, I spend a great deal of time around young children, and there is so much they remind me about how to be a grown-up. First, there is my daughter. When she was 5, we were visiting my brother-in-law's apartment. There was nothing on any of the walls except for a large poster of a naked woman on a motorcycle. The adults were talking about many things, but of course not about the poster. I could tell my 5-year-old daughter was getting bored, so I asked her if she wanted to go to a playground. When we were there, she said, "Daddy, did you happen to notice the poster in Uncle Paul's apartment?" "Of course," I answered in my uncertain dad voice. Then she said, "Did you notice that woman wasn't wearing a helmet?" She then said, "It's not safe to ride a bike without a helmet." As an adult, I was looking with preconceptions. As a child, she was just looking with her eyes. She reminded me that it might be wiser to set aside what I think I already know and just experience people or ideas as they are. As I work with my students, I encounter children in elementary schools who also remind me about how to be a grown-up. One day, a third grader asked, "What's the opposite of irony?" Wow, I thought, that's pretty deep. I was thinking authenticity, sincerity, but no, I was way off. It turns out the opposite of irony is wrinkly. He reminded me of the importance to not overthink things and of the importance of laughing. So I wonder if part of being a grown-up is to remember what we knew as children. And of course, there are all the wonderful students I have encountered at Butler. Here are some of the things that a few of you here today have reminded me about being a grown-up. There was this: when your family completely fell apart, you still managed to hold on, using emotional duct tape and scraps of inner strength. You reminded me that sometimes surviving can be its own celebration. And there was this: when you and your brother could no longer return to Syria and some of your extended family was wiped out, you never let it smother you. What I saw was your spark. You reminded me that though pain and suffering is a common phrase, despite pain happening, perhaps suffering is optional. And there was also this: as an undergraduate, you tried to outrun the demons chasing you. I watched as you eventually exhaled and sought help. When you started your teaching career and had nowhere to go during the holidays, your new colleagues wrapped their arms around you because you inspire that in others. Today, you complete your master's degree. I have always profoundly admired your insight and courage. You reminded me that if we send out the right kind of flare, the ones we need will find us. And finally, there was this: I watched you find your confidence in your voice. Better still, I could tell that you saw it too. When challenges occurred, you did not point fingers, blame your circumstances, or become mired. You wrote me, "I used to think the question was, what do I want to be when I grow up? But now I realize the question is, who do I want to be when I grow up?" You reminded me that when I was your age, I kept pushing my future ahead of me until I started living the life I was looking for. You are way ahead of me, which is something every teacher hopes for. Each one of you has reminded us of something important, whether you are aware of it or not. We carry those reminders forward. You may have noticed that I keep using the word reminded because, as Maggie Nelson said, one may have to undergo the same realizations, write the same notes in the margin, return to the same themes, and relearn the same emotional truths. We forget, we lose our way, we get busy, the noise in our heads becomes too loud. I wonder, as a grown-up, if one of our tasks is to figure out what our gift is and then give it to the world. When I was younger, I did not recognize my own gift. Seeing the goodness in others, connecting with them, caring about them, I had always suspected that being a teacher was about knowing a whole lot of something and then sharing it. Caring and connecting did not seem like a way of knowing. Even more potently, my gift often felt like a liability. Being a feeling person meant I was carrying all of that caring around inside. Thankfully, in time, I began to relax into myself. What changed isn't that I cared any less. It's that I stopped bearing my own uniqueness as a burden. One of our hopes for you is that you will have a quicker path to discovering your gifts, however unique and different they might feel. As the poet Elizabeth Alexander reminds us, never be smaller than you are. I leave you with a version of what I wrote to my daughter when she was graduating from college just a year ago. It's called How to Be a Grown-Up. Imagine yourself, even if you cannot yet make out all the details. Listen for the best part. Wait for the best part. It's coming. Walk in forgiveness. Lose what will not last when you can. Love beyond your own expectations. Doubt that your instincts are wrong. Trust your own hopefulness. Follow your own instructions. If you forget how great you are, don't worry, we'll remember. Ask yourself why you're not laughing right now. Unless it's time to cry, in which case do that. Aspire to be famous, to people you know and respect. Recruit others in your search for the impossible so you cannot lose. Search for a target worth aiming at. Live, rinse, repeat. Wait. Your worry will flicker and then exhaust itself. It's not the light you were looking for anyway. Lift your anchor now and then. Fight for something outside yourself and in a way that is more addition than subtraction. Accept every mirror as a window and every window as a mirror. And when all else fails, find the nearest child and ask for directions. Thank you and congratulations.